Wesley, where are you now? You're quite late, aren't you? While Wesley and I were on our way to our new home, his mother suddenly called his mobile. Wesley, who was driving, asked me to handle the speakerphone and responded, "Late? What do you mean? I'm already in front of the apartment." Huh? Wesley and I were surprised at the same time. I hurried and left because I'm taking the biggest room, so Anna, make sure you don't put anything in there without permission. I never thought I would get here first. The movers are waiting too, so hurry up and come unlock the door. Unlock? Mom, where are you right now? I'm in front of your new home, the high-rise apartment near the station. His mother told Wesley the name of the nearest station. The apartment was a suburban one recommended by his mother, and she had left a brochure. We're heading to a different apartment in the opposite direction. Huh? His mother exclaimed in surprise. I, Anna, am in charge of product planning in New York. I was very happy to join the company I had dreamed of since I was a student. And last year, I was assigned to the planning department, which I had always hoped for since I joined as a new employee. This made me even more committed to my work. Right after being assigned to the planning department, I ended up in the same group as Wesley, who is 2 years my senior. Wesley and I had similar work views, and we often went out for drinks after work and passionately discussed our ideas. One evening after work, while we were drinking together, Wesley, who usually doesn't talk much about himself, opened up about his past. Actually, my parents divorced when I was a child, and since then, my mother has been raising me on her own. It was the first time I heard about Wesley's past, and I listened intently. My mother worked and managed to send me to college. I really can't thank her enough. Wesley not only works hard but also shows gratitude to his mother by treating her to meals or trips whenever he gets a bonus, in addition to celebrating her birthday and Mother's Day. Gradually, my feelings for Wesley grew beyond just being colleagues because of how he values his family. I had been suppressing my feelings, worrying they might affect my work, but when I learned Wesley was going to be transferred, I decided it was time to express them. Wesley, I'm going to tell you the truth. I like you. I want us to be together. When I confessed, Wesley responded with a surprised expression. This is troubling. I was planning to confess myself. I've been interested in you, Anna, for a long time. Our feelings reciprocated. We started dating as a couple. And even after Wesley transferred to a different department, we continued to go out every weekend. About a month after we started dating, Wesley made a suggestion. My mother wants to meet you, Anna. Would you like to come over to my parents' house sometime? When Wesley told his mother about our relationship, she expressed a keen desire to meet me. It seemed Wesley had a habit of introducing every new girlfriend to his mother. When we visited Wesley's family home on the weekend, his mother warmly welcomed us. You must be Anna. Wesley has told me about you. I'm so glad you could come. As his mother eagerly asked about how we met and our jobs, I began to relax during our conversation. Wesley seemed to enjoy watching us talk. However, when Wesley went to the bathroom, something unexpected happened. You are not really suitable for marriage, his mother suddenly said in a cold voice. What? Shocked by her abrupt statement, I was visibly disturbed, but she continued without a smile. From what I've been hearing, it seems like you really enjoy your work. Work is the most important thing to you, right? I think marrying someone like that won't make Wesley happy. Thinking about a future marriage with Wesley, I was shaken by her words and responded defensively. Wait a minute. It's true that I really enjoy my work and I find it fulfilling. But if I get married, I intend to devote myself to my family. His mother replied without listening. It doesn't matter what you say. Wesley is kind, capable, and a perfect son. You, an ordinary person, are no match for him. That's not fair. If you really want to get married, you should break up with Wesley sooner. Clinging to a meaningless future will only leave you behind. I was stunned and couldn't move when Wesley entered the living room. Huh? What's going on? What were you talking about? His mother quickly put on a smile and answered. We were talking about Anna's passion for her work. I was just saying how impressed I am with how dedicated she is. Then she asked me forcefully, pretending it was a casual conversation. Right, Anna? Yes. Afterward, in front of Wesley, his mother acted friendly towards me, but I kept forcing a smile without feeling relieved. After leaving his family home, Wesley drove me back to my place. Along the way, he sensed something was wrong and asked, Anna, you seemed a bit down later in the day. Is there anything bothering you? I felt like confiding in him about his mother's words, but out of consideration for his feelings towards his mother, I ended up saying nothing. No, nothing in particular. Really? Yes, your mother listened to a lot of what I had to say. She really cares about her son. When I praised his mother, Wesley beamed with joy. Thank you. My previous girlfriends always criticized my mother. They disliked dealing with her and left me quickly. It makes me very happy to hear you say that. Wesley spoke earnestly and continued. Hearing those words, I'm convinced. Anna, you care not just about me, but also about my family. I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me? Receiving Wesley's proposal, I resolved to improve my relationship with his mother moving forward. When we visited again to formally announce our engagement, his mother clearly showed a look of displeasure. When his mother frowned and asked, Are you serious about marriage? Have you both thought it through carefully? Wesley responded firmly, Of course. I feel that Anna and I should spend our lives together. Anna, what is your opinion? I want to live my life in cooperation with Wesley. Do you really understand what it means to cooperate? It's not just about being supported. You need to be able to support Wesley as well. I can't see you supporting him if you prioritize your work. When his mother inadvertently criticized her in front of Wesley, he was surprised and retorted, Mom, what are you talking about? I have already received great support from Anna. Hearing this, his mother came to her senses and said, Oh, really? Maybe I spoke too harshly. How about some tea for now? And went to the kitchen to make tea. I quickly followed her to help. Please let me help. When I offered, his mother glanced at me coldly and gave a scornful look. Anna, I told you before that you are no match for Wesley. Is your memory hazy? Or do you not understand? Yes, I remember that. However, I desire to live my life with Wesley, and I intend to make an effort to stand equal with him. At that moment, his mother sneered contemptuously. What can effort change? No girlfriend who has met me has managed to stay with Wesley without breaking up. Wesley is my beloved son. I cannot concede him to a newcomer like you. Then, how are Wesley's feelings considered? Wesley's feelings? He is kind-hearted and would never slight his mother, who raised him alone. Even if I say something unfounded, he trusts me more than any girlfriend. That has already been proven. What do you mean? If I tell him that she insulted a single parent, Wesley will blame her. No matter how much she argues, Wesley won't believe her. And that's always how it ends, with the girlfriends growing tired and leaving. I was shocked by his mother's words. It wasn't the relationships with the mother-in-law that drove Wesley's past girlfriends away. It was his mother herself scheming their separations. My anger towards his mother, who misunderstood Wesley and exploited his goodness, only grew. Just because she raised Wesley alone doesn't mean she has the right to keep him by her side at the expense of his happiness. Hearing this conversation, I've decided once again that I will never leave Wesley. I will tell him the truth, and together we will start a new life. My resolve only made his mother laugh scornfully. Tell him the truth? Such attempts are futile. In the end, Wesley will always believe me. You'll leave him branded as a liar and a mean wife. Then his mother smugly declared to me, If you so desire to marry him, go ahead. But even if you do marry, Wesley will never go against my advice, so you will always be second best, she calmly stated. Afterwards, she brought the tea to the living room as if nothing had happened and started conversing amiably with Wesley. While I listened absently to their conversation, I contemplated my situation. Noticing my distress, Wesley's mother interrupted with an overly kind tone. Anna, didn't you like the tea I made? Or, is something wrong with your health? No, there's no problem, I replied curtly. Really? But you seem distracted. Is our conversation boring? She pressed further. Her words gave the impression that I was being rude and bored at my in-laws, adding to my discomfort. Staying there became unbearable for me. I apologize, but I'm not feeling well, so I will take my leave for today. With that, I hurriedly left the house. Wesley saw this and rushed after me. Anna, wait, I'll drive you home. Unable to hold it in any longer, I decided to open up to Wesley about the burdens on my heart during the ride home. I told him about his mother's opposition to our marriage when he was not around, how harshly she treated me, and the fact that his past girlfriends had been similarly forced to break up by her. But I always believed that my mother only wished for my happiness. Wesley said, bewildered. Wesley, you are being deceived. Your mother just wants to keep you all to herself, I asserted firmly. Wesley was speechless at the revelation. Can you give me some time? Please bear with my mother for a while. Understood. But no matter what happens, I am determined to be with you. I reaffirmed my decision. My words might have been too strong, but I made sure to convey what needed to be said. Now, it was up to Wesley to make all the decisions. After sharing the painful truth about his mother, an awkward silence followed. But we quietly planned our new life together. Noticing our slightly unnatural behavior, his mother approached Wesley and started speaking gently. Wesley, starting a new life can be expensive. How about we skip the wedding ceremony and just have a small dinner party with us? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. With Wesley's agreement, his mother looked at me smugly and said, also, I think a high-rise apartment would be suitable for your new home. This new building here is convenient, close to the station and supermarkets. Saying this, she deliberately left a brochure for a suburban high-rise apartment. Despite her frequent interjections afterward, I suppressed my emotions and ignored her words, continuing to prepare for our new life. Then, on moving day, as we were leaving the old apartment where I had lived during my single days and heading to our new home, Wesley's mobile rang with a call from his mother. While driving, Wesley asked me to switch to speakerphone and answered. Wesley, where are you now? You're quite late, aren't you? Late? What do you mean? I'm already in front of the apartment. Huh? Wesley and I were surprised at the same time. I hurried and left because I'm taking the biggest room, so Anna, make sure you don't put anything in there without permission. I never thought I would get here first. The movers are waiting too, so hurry up and come unlock the door. Unlock? Mom, where are you right now? I'm in front of your new home, the high-rise apartment near the station. His mother told Wesley the name of the nearest station. The apartment was a suburban one recommended by his mother, and she had left a brochure. We are heading to a different apartment. Huh? The mother-in-law voiced her surprise. The new home we chose is an apartment in the city center. Yes, it's expensive, but it's very close to work and makes commuting easier. That's why we decided to save money by having a simple, budget-friendly celebration instead of a lavish wedding. Wait a minute. Why would you choose such a place? The city center is crowded, and I think it's very difficult to live in for everyday life, the mother-in-law asked back. Wesley parked the car in a safe spot and, holding his mobile, said, because we don't plan to live with you, Mom. His mother was clearly shaken by Wesley's calm reply and was at a loss for words. Since the beginning of our moving preparations, we had suspected that the mother-in-law might suddenly pack her bags and intend to move into our new home and announced. However, we had not imagined that she would actually show up on moving day. Wesley, what are you talking about? I raised you all by myself. Are you going to leave me alone now? She confronted him. Raised all by yourself? Wesley questioned back. Yes, exactly. After divorcing your irresponsible father, I worked from morning till night while you were still young so that you could go to college. You know the hardship I went through. The mother-in-law argued. Hearing this, Wesley calmly counted, I won't be deceived anymore. I checked directly with Dad and finally learned the truth. After telling Wesley about the lies his mother had told to break up him and his girlfriends, Wesley had visited his father, who had been living separately since the divorce, to obtain solid evidence. There, Wesley learned from his father that the real reason for the divorce was his mother's infidelity and that his father had been sending child support directly to Wesley out of love for his child. Hearing this, Wesley's gratitude towards his mother crumbled. Dad said he sent enough child support so that you wouldn't have to work full-time and I wouldn't feel alone as a kid, yet you were out early every morning and came back late at night, right? Wesley pointed out. The mother-in-law began to make excuses in a low voice over the phone. That was to make up for any shortfall in tuition fees. Still lying? I visited the company you worked for. They told me you always left on time. Wesley confronted her with this fact. How can you remember something from so long ago? Are you sure you're not mistaken? The mother-in-law questioned. That's why I checked the work records from that time. It was exactly as they said. Moreover, your former colleagues told me they often saw you going out with various men on your days off. Wesley responded, Wait, that must be a misunderstanding. The mother-in-law tried to counter. What misunderstanding? You used the child support Dad sent for me to go out with other men, didn't you? I can't live with a mother like that anymore. Wesley stated firmly and hung up the phone without giving her the new address. I later heard that the mother-in-law had been trying to force her way into the new home we were planning, and while loading her belongings onto a moving truck, she had secretly put her own house on the market. After Wesley hung up the phone, the mother-in-law panicked and tried to return the belongings to her house, but a new owner had already taken possession and she could no longer return to her home. Having lost her place to live, the mother-in-law was confused and went to the man she had been seeing, but he told her this was just a fling and turned her away. She is currently moving from one internet cafe to another, trying to find where we live. But Wesley and I have already cut off all communication, making it very unlikely that she can locate our new home. Meanwhile, we are starting a peaceful life in a city center tower apartment without her interference. Now that the long-standing misunderstandings have been cleared, Wesley, realizing his father had been supporting him all along, has resolved to honor his father. Nowadays, Wesley, his father, and I often go out to eat together. Wesley is making up for the lost time with his father, creating many father-son moments. Attracted anew to Wesley's enduring devotion to his family, I also want to support his resolution and join him in honoring his father. How dare you live in luxury on my son's fortune, you mere daughter-in-law? Leave. You're a nuisance. Even seeing you is annoying. In the middle of an argument with my husband, my mother-in-law, changing her complexion, suddenly made these incomprehensible remarks. Mother-in-law, what happened? You think I don't know anything, but I have heard everything from Michael. I'm aware that you're squandering Michael's fortune and accumulating debts. He doesn't need a wife who just squanders money around. Leave right now. I had decided to endure my mother-in-law's harassment to continue my married life, but I was shocked by my husband's betrayal. There's no reason to support them anymore. They simply don't know gratitude. I understand. I'll leave. I thought it was pitiful, but decided to leave as they wished. My name is Catherine. I'm 29 years old and a remote worker. I've always been frail. My mother raised me single-handedly, and she's 65 this year. She's always been concerned about me. Even if you're not strong, there will come a time when you must earn a living. I can't always protect you, Catherine, so you need to learn the skills to survive. Yes, I understand. I'll do my best. I've lived supported by my mother for a long time, but after dropping out of high school, I've been self-learning and earning a living from remote work. Even on days I felt ill, working at my own pace was ideal for me. Initially, I only made about $300 a month, but gradually my income increased. I was seen as a shut-in at home after leaving high school, but I believe I'm on the path I chose. A few years after I started working, my income far exceeded the average for my age group, and I was no longer swayed by others' words. Your work seems to be going well. I'm so happy. Now I can feel at ease. When my job stabilized, my mother showed relief and joy, as if it was her own achievement. At that time, my mother, who had been working in a supermarket's deli section, was assigned a leadership role, and she was physically and mentally exhausted. Mom, how long do you plan to keep working? We can live on my income alone, so why not quit and live a relaxed life? Seeing my mother in pain every day, I couldn't keep silent. She never imagined that I, frail as I was, would become her support. Touched by my suggestion, my mother thanked me repeatedly, shedding tears. Eventually, my mother quit her supermarket job at the right time and began living a more relaxed life. She sometimes helped with my remote work, but she mostly enjoyed a peaceful retirement. She went on trips with friends, enjoyed luxury lunches, etc. Unlike her time at the supermarket, she regained her former energy and spent her days cheerfully. No matter how busy I was, I always had dinner with my mother and talked about the day's events. I had lunch with a friend today. Her daughter got married. She's excited to see her grandchild. Catherine, you're busy with work, so maybe there's no chance for a relationship right now, but I hope you'll find someone wonderful eventually. Hearing this, I responded with a slightly troubled expression. Marriage, huh? I've never seriously thought about it, but it's something to aspire to, isn't it? That was a conversation I had with my mother. To be honest, I never seriously considered marriage. I have often fallen ill since I was young. During elementary and middle school, I was in and out of the hospital, and I had to drop out of high school due to poor health. With such a background, I had no friends to call my own, let alone conversations with the opposite sex. However, as my mother said, maybe marriage and having children wouldn't be so bad if there was the right connection. I began to hope for that. There was a moment when I felt that this wish might come true. One day, I took the morning off for the first time in a while and went to the shopping mall alone. Then, a salesperson at the jewelry store approached me. "Are you looking for a gift? I'd be happy to help." "Yes, thank you. Actually, I'm thinking of a necklace for my mother's birthday. Do you have any recommendations?" This was my first encounter with Michael, who would later become my spouse. "A gift for your mother? That's wonderful. Shall I show you some recommendations? Do you have a budget in mind?" "I haven't set a specific budget. If I find something appropriate, I plan to buy it. Please show me your recommended jewelry." When I visited the jewelry store for my mother's birthday, I unexpectedly hit it off with Michael. We chatted while looking at products, and somehow ended up exchanging contact information. It was an unusual development for an employee and a customer, but we were naturally drawn to each other. Of course, I chose a very expensive item recommended by Michael for my mother's birthday. But what was more captivating was the exhilarating encounter with Michael. After that, we kept in touch amid our busy lives and occasionally went on dates. We quickly started a relationship, and things progressed smoothly until we eventually started discussing marriage. My mother seemed to sense that I had a new partner, and when I told her, "Mom, I'm thinking of marrying someone," she was delighted, not surprised. "I thought you've been looking more lively lately. So you've got a boyfriend. It's wonderful that you're thinking of marriage. I'd love to meet him." For me, nearing 30, the idea of marrying in my 20s was like a dream, something I hadn't even considered until recently. My mother seemed to feel the same. Later, when I introduced Michael to my mother, we learned that he too was raised in a single mother household. I will definitely make Catherine happy. Please allow me to marry her. Receiving such a confident greeting, both my mother and I couldn't hide our smiles. For my mother, my marriage was unexpected, but she was happy that I had brought someone trustworthy. Our dating period wasn't very long, but it was about destiny and timing. My mother understood that well and was genuinely happy for our marriage. After that, I went to greet Michael's family. Little did I know that this would greatly change my life. Michael, like me, lived at his mother's house. When I arrived at Michael's house, located in a quiet residential area, his mother looked at me up and down and said, "I heard Michael wanted to get married, so I wondered what kind of person you'd be, but you're quite plain." I was expecting someone flashy and assertive, so it's a surprise. Mom, that's a bit much. It's rude to say that to Catherine, whom you're meeting for the first time. My first impression of my mother-in-law was the worst. I couldn't understand what she was thinking, and her eyes, laughing creepily while looking at me, were extremely uncomfortable. It seemed like Michael was trying to stand up for me, but he also appeared to be careful not to upset his mother. "Nice to meet you. I'm Catherine. I've been dating Michael with the prospect of marriage in mind." "Oh, I've already heard about that from Michael. Your name, age, job, and even the fact that you come from a single mother family." She interrupted me and looked at me with sarcasm. An unpleasant person. That description fit her perfectly. Then she said this, "I have no objections to the marriage, but Michael and I plan to live together. Also, we're considering buying a new apartment. Once you both get married, let's live there, all three of us. If you can't accept this, then maybe marriage is out of the question." I hadn't heard about this. It seemed Michael and his mother had planned this all along, choosing a residence for the three of us to live in after marriage. They handed me a brochure for the apartment they planned to buy. It was a very luxurious 4-rooms high-rise condo. "This is an incredibly luxurious condo. So the three of us will live here in this high-rise condo." "Yeah, didn't I mention it? I can't be separated from Mom even after marriage. I worry about her. So if you decide to marry me, living with my mom is unavoidable. You understand, right?" I felt uneasy seeing Michael's expression at that time, but my mind was in turmoil, and I couldn't think straight. Afterwards, Michael was as kind as ever to me. I found myself believing in his kindness. In hindsight, I should have said, "I need some time to think," but when I returned home, my mother was so happy about my marriage that I couldn't bring myself to delay the conversation. As a result, the marriage life planned by Michael and his mother began. Fortunately, the new high-rise condo was very close to my mother's house. If there were any problems, I could quickly visit my mother and she could come to my apartment. There was that advantage. If there were any problems, I could quickly visit my mother and she could come to my apartment. There was that advantage. However, I couldn't achieve the life I desired. As soon as we started living together, my mother-in-law declared, "Catherine, you understand, right? From now on, you'll be taking care of my daily needs. Cleaning, laundry, and of course, preparing meals perfectly. I'm counting on you." I expected to be entrusted with everything, but my mother-in-law began to behave abnormally, monitoring my every move. I was forbidden to contact my mother, and she was not allowed to visit our house. The most shocking thing was that I had to bear all the household expenses. Do you realize who you have to thank for living in this luxurious apartment? From now on, never forget your gratitude to us. What? What did you just say? My mother-in-law seemed to have no recognition of the fact that I was supporting the household, believing that her son was the provider. You might be satisfied with the small amount of money you earn on your computer, but for us, that's worthless. What good is that petty cash? I was shocked by her harsh words. Realizing she didn't understand the actual financial situation, I thought about showing her the household accounts, but decided to talk to my husband first. Why doesn't your mother know that I'm supporting the household? She criticizes me every day, saying I'm living off her, and she seems to underestimate my earnings. What's going on? Ahaha, are you bothered by that? It doesn't matter what mom thinks. Actually, the credit for getting this condo is partly mine, so it's natural for her to think that way. My husband said this with full confidence. Since getting married, he hasn't contributed financially at all. I've been paying for all the furniture and appliances. Despite this, he just laughed it off, offered no help to me in distress, and changed the subject. This was unbelievable coming from the kind person he used to be. Because of this, my trust in my husband wavered, and my resentment towards my mother-in-law grew day by day. One day, he came home excited about purchasing a new luxury car on loan. I bought a luxury car suitable for this condo. It's on loan, but it's better than a compact car, right? Cool, isn't it? Since moving to the condo, my husband's lifestyle completely changed. He never seemed materialistic before, but he started buying tailor-made suits, luxury shoes, expensive watches and wallets, and now a new car, all without consulting me. Don't you think this is a bit too much? Are you sure about the payments? I can't take on any more expenses. Since we moved, not a single penny. Just as I was about to finish my sentence. Shut up. What are you thinking? Who do you think you are? Remember who you have to thank for getting married. If I hadn't approached you, you'd still be at your mom's house doing remote work. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe he would say such a thing. I couldn't take it anymore and objected to his words. Stop joking. Who do you think should be grateful? Making high-cost purchases without any consultation is insane. Enough is enough. What? Don't talk back to me. Don't mess with me. The situation was on the verge of turning into a physical altercation. At that moment, my mother-in-law, noticing our fight, appeared. What's this, Catherine? Such a hoardy attitude. I've been listening and I've had enough. Spending so lavishly using my son's money. Just get out. You're a nuisance. My mother-in-law didn't listen to me at all, blaming me as if I was entirely at fault. I was just stunned by her sudden and nonsensical accusations. What? Mother-in-law? What are you talking about? You think I don't know? I've heard everything from Michael. I know all about you squandering his money and even getting into debt. We don't need an economic parasite. Just leave. I had planned to endure my mother-in-law's harassment to continue my married life, but my husband's betrayal was beyond my imagination. In reality, I wasn't living lavishly or in debt. The ones wasting money were these two. Ungrateful is the word for them. My husband, affirming his mother's words, said with a laugh, "What will you do, huh? Apologize or leave? If you leave, I won't stop you, but remember, it means divorce." Understood. I'll leave. I don't need the furniture and appliances I paid for. I'll leave them here. I wanted to throw their words back in their faces. After all, thanks to me, they were living in a 4-rooms condo. Yes, I'll file for divorce online now. Can you sign it quickly? I'll take the responsibility to submit it to the office. Saying that, I started searching online. My mother-in-law, watching me, seemed delighted, happy about me leaving the high-rise condo. Whether it was a lack of imagination or understanding about how life would unfold after this. Perhaps she has a low IQ. But I wasn't interested in their future. I took the completed divorce papers, quickly packed my things, and arranged to leave the house. My mother-in-law continued her sarcastic remarks until the end. Beside her, my husband was rejoicing while wearing a similar expression. I'll submit the divorce papers. There will be no alimony or division of property. Here's the document. Just sign here. Yeah, I'll sign it. I was worried you might claim this apartment. Turns out, I was worrying for nothing. As I quietly left, thinking I had no interest in this apartment, I emptied all my bank accounts. I might be criticized, but I was confident to face any condemnation. After all, every penny in those accounts was earned by my hard work over the years. Returning to my mother's house, she greeted me with a surprised expression. I've been worried. I called several times but couldn't get through. I even went to your condo, but they wouldn't let me in. Are you okay? What? A call? What do you mean? Surprised by my mother's words, I carefully checked my phone and found that her number was set to reject incoming calls. I couldn't believe it. To think they went that far to prevent me from contacting my mother. I explained everything that had happened since I moved out to my mother without hiding any details. Isn't that just too terrible? Unbelievable. Even my usually gentle mother showed anger at this situation. But without me, they can't continue living in that high-rise condo. It's fine to just leave them be. The next day, I went to the office, submitted the divorce papers, and the divorce was finalized without any issues. What a short-lived marriage it was. Returning to my mother's house stabilized my mind, and I was able to concentrate on my work again, securing a stable income. At the end of the month, as expected, I received a call on my phone. Of course, it was from that foolish pair. Hello, Catherine. It's me, Michael. I'm in a bit of a bind and need your help. What? I'm busy right now. I don't have time to deal with your issues. Hearing my ex-husband's voice, I immediately knew it was about money. They were probably struggling with various expenses. We're struggling with the condo's mortgage and utility bills. I had to sell the new car and pawn my branded watch, but it's still not enough. So, please help me out. I'm begging you. As expected, they were behind on the condo's payments and couldn't even afford the utility bills. From what I heard, their situation seemed quite dire. Oh, that's unfortunate. If we were still married, I might have felt obligated to help, but we're divorced now. I'm not generous enough to lend money to a stranger. Sorry to hear that. I know, but you're the only one I can turn to now. Please, help me out. His mother was probably there too, yelling in the background. Turn to someone? Isn't she right behind you? You can ask your dear mother for help. As I said this, my mother-in-law, unable to hold back, took the phone. What's with you, Catherine? Being so cold? We're your former family in trouble. Can't you help? Our accounts are all zero. You gain nothing by holding a grudge against us. You're the lowest. What are you talking about? That was my money. You, who kicked me out of the house, have no right to talk about helping family members. If you keep this up, I'll bill you for all the living expenses, okay? Originally intending to stay calm, I got irritated and ended up threatening to charge them for all the living expenses I had paid for them. Surprisingly, my words hit them hard. Wait, please, don't do that. We're just in financial trouble and seeking help. Yeah, please don't burden us any further. We promise not to bother you again, Catherine. Is that okay? They excused themselves and made absurd claims. I decided to put an end to this hassle. I'll let it go this time. But if you contact me again, I'll bill you for all the past living expenses. Okay? Understood? Sorry. We won't bother you anymore. We won't contact you either, okay? Although I didn't quite understand, I managed to clearly cut ties without being persistently bothered. I thought they would chase me more stubbornly, but they were really in financial trouble. After that, I blocked their numbers. I was relieved that they wouldn't contact me again, but one day, my mother told me she saw them packing and leaving the high-rise condo. They looked miserable, not at all like residents of a high-rise condo. Apparently, they couldn't afford to keep living there due to the mortgage and utility bills. It seems they're still struggling with debt repayment, as the house has not yet been sold. A true case of getting their just desserts. My ex-husband worked at a jewelry shop, but in reality, he wasn't earning much. He finally realized that obtaining the high-rise condo and living our life there was all thanks to me. But it's too late for him to realize that now. I want to start afresh, focusing on spending peaceful times with my mother. I'm currently living comfortably in my childhood home, but I'm planning to find a new house to live in with my mother. As part of honoring my mother, I'm considering moving into a barrier-free luxury home. I'll take my time to find a place that we both like. Catherine, you've always been good at your job. Keep up the good work. I'm here to support you. Encouraged by my mother's warm words, I'm determined to work hard for her sake from now on.